Well, it's that time of the year. Christmas is soon upon us. End of year, though, for our staff. Before we begin to start singing all the carols, we want to celebrate what the last year's been about. Let's share some moments together.
Earlier this year, the Wesley Seniors Social Hub opened its doors in Fairfield. The hub is the latest of 3 Wesley Seniors Social Hubs, joining those located in Tuggerah and Newcastle. This innovative centre decreases the social isolation of older people in the area and helps bridge cultural differences through participation in a range of activities. Current members come from many cultural backgrounds from across the world. Tourists and diners may have come to Sydney's Circular Quay to enjoy fine food and weather, but it was Wesley Mission's dramatic reenactment of Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday that had harbourside patrons putting down their forks and grabbing their cameras. On Good Friday, Wesley Mission's Journey to the Cross procession was a compelling reminder of Christ's sacrifice, reaching not only Sydney's CBD, but many people around the world as media picked up the images from the event. The procession led Chicago's Daily Herald's global Easter coverage. And as the sun rose over Sydney Harbour on Easter Sunday, Wesley Mission's Easter Sunrise service spread the message of Christ's resurrection to audiences across the globe through story, sermon and song. Wesley Mission released its 4th report on financial stress in April this year, revealing that an alarming 44% of New South Wales households are suffering financial stress. Keith Garner was joined by ASIC Deputy Chair Peter Kell in launching the report. Keith highlighted that across New South Wales, almost 4 in 10 households are technically insolvent. The report also revealed that the ability to manage spending has declined over time, with fewer households able to keep a budget, this figure growing from 5 to 19% in the past 5 years. Australian sports stars including Olympic skier Zali Steggall, tennis great John Newcombe and rugby league legend Steve Mortimer joined members of the corporate community to raise funds for Wesley Homeless Services at the 6th annual Sports United lunch. The lunch was attended by 137 guests. Inspired by the stories of changed lives and the work of Wesley Mission, guests dug deep for the cause of homelessness, raising a total of $86,000. In May this year, over 100 guests, including donors, supporters, staff and friends, attended the annual Wesley Doves Lunch, warmly hosted by patron Carol Garner. Special guests included Genevieve Clay-Smith, a filmmaker and entrepreneur, and Wesley Disability Services client Virginia Samuela shared their stories of determination, resilience, faith and hope. Following the devastating floods in Dungog this year, Wesley Mission staff and volunteers came together to help Dungog get back on its feet, donating $15,000 towards the community's emergency relief work. In presenting the cheque to Dungog Shire Mayor Harold Johnston, Keith Garner expressed Wesley Mission's heartfelt desire to stand alongside the community as it regathered its strength and moved into the future. The achievements of Wesley Lifeforce were celebrated this year at a 20th anniversary dinner, where New South Wales Minister for Mental Health, the Honourable Prue Goward MP, and CEO of Suicide Prevention Australia, Sue Murray, both gave addresses. Before delivering the keynote address, Keith Garner interviewed the Reverend Bob Dunlop, who began the service in 1995. 20 years later, the program is truly national and growing. Wesley Lifeforce has facilitated the development of 57 community suicide prevention networks and trained tens of thousands of everyday Australians in suicide prevention workshops around the country. From the first notes of Bach's "Now Thank We All Our God," sung by the choir from St Stephen's, Macquarie Street, it was clear this service would be special. Hundreds of people filled the Wesley Theatre to celebrate 200 years since the arrival of Australia's first Methodist minister, Samuel Lee. And the service was one of spirit and gravitas, worthy of the man and his legacy. Special guests included the Honourable Philip Ruddock MP and his wife Heather, Commissioner James Condon of the Salvation Army Australia Eastern Territory, Chair of the Wesley Community Services Board Mark Scott, and Non-Executive Director Keith Suter. The Ashfield Tongan Parish Choir and their brass band closed the service with their majestic rendition of Haydn's Awaken. In September, we officially opened the newly renovated Wesley Centre and Wesley Mission offices at 220 Pitt Street, as we continue to demonstrate our commitment to maintaining a strong presence in the centre of Sydney. As part of the upgrade, the Wesley Conference Centre was refurbished to give it a contemporary feel and to improve functionality to better suit the changing needs of guests. The latest initiative in the Wesley Centre, the Upper Room Resto Cafe, has created a new buzz on the ground floor, drawing a wave of CBD workers to the Wesley Centre. People in Sydney, Brisbane, Newcastle and Adelaide were given the opportunity to grieve and receive support during Wesley Life Force Memorial Day services, which were held in a week when the world remembered loved ones lost to suicide. Wesley Mission brought more than 400 people together at the Sydney Opera House. In each of the locations, the services drew people from all backgrounds, each with their own story to share. In October, Wesley Mission celebrated the official launch of Wesley Young Healthy Minds, a new early intervention service in Newcastle for children and young people at risk of developing or showing early signs of mental illness. The launch took place at the Wesley Oasis Centre and opened with a welcome to country and smoking ceremony by Aboriginal elder Uncle Bill. Our CEO, Keith Garner, highlighted the importance of this critical program in the community. The Wesley Lyceum was full to the brim in November for the inaugural Gordon Moyes Lecture, given by Federal Treasurer the Honourable Scott Morrison MP. The Reverend Gordon Moyes began his 27-year tenure of superintendency of Wesley Mission in 1978, overseeing the enrichment of Wesley Mission's media profile and continuing the strong word and deed ministry of Wesley Mission, pointing out that in his time, Gordon was never afraid to speak about life's difficult topics. Mr. Morrison addressed the subject of social reform today. Mr. Morrison acknowledged the place of the National Disability Insurance Scheme and also spoke about the importance of community, business partnerships, private investment in social enterprises and superannuation reform. Wesley Take Charge of Your Life was launched in November as an exciting new joint project between Wesley Mission and the Rotary Club of Sydney. Wesley Take Charge of Your Life aims to assist young people to successfully transition from foster care to living independently by providing them with the tools, skills and confidence for this major change in their life. At the launch, our CEO Keith Garner spoke of the gap that exists in support services for young people living in foster care in Australia when they are transitioning into adulthood. This pilot program will continue for 12 months and is for current and former clients of Wesley Mission, aged 15 to 25 years old.
The past period of time at Wesley Mission, over these last 2 months, we've been very engaged in some strategic issues, looking to the future and saying, how do we make ourselves fit to respond to the challenges that lie ahead? New appointments have been made, there's an exciting future ahead for us, and I'm confident that we'll be able to set the steer for the next 5 years together. So we look forward with enthusiasm, confidence, and together.